Thank you for joining me on the Investing for Freedom podcast. Today, we're going to have a conversation about what I think is one of the most difficult things in life, which is making decisions. And I don't know if you could relate to this, but so many times in life when we're faced with, large decisions, we spend so much time like thinking about it, and a lot of times it's excruciating. It could be decisions to leave a job. It could be decisions around an investment. It could be decisions to, move. And Karen and I have had so many conversations with people that just wish that they could, leave the town that they grew up in, or they've been living in for 6, 7, 10 years, and they just feel like they're trapped there and can't relocate. And oftentimes the hardest part about anything that we do in life is deciding. And that's why I say what's hard is to decide. And we talk about this a lot, but what do you really want? Why do you want it? What are you going to do to get it? Measure results. And then the last part, adjust. And this is the great thing about life in general, is that, once we do make a decision, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst case outcome? And if you really think through that and you analyze that, so let's say you do want to move and you sell your house, and then you pick up and move. What's the worst case scenario? You don't like that new community and you move back, or you quit a job and you have to find a different job. As an employer, and I've been an employer since 2004, and I've literally had thousands of employees, not at any one given time, but I've had literally over 1,000 employees over the years. There was periods of time where, we'd hire 50, 60, 70 people just for a big job, for 2 or 3 months. And so I've literally talked to so many different employees. And as an employer, the one thing that I'm very cognizant of and understand, it's really, really challenging to get a great employee who's skilled and educated and really understands what they're doing and knows their craft and trade. And so, worst case scenario, you quit your job and you don't like the town that you moved to, and you move back, or you move to a different town. And so what's hard is to decide. And a lot of times, you've probably heard this and it's cliche, but you're not a tree. It's not like your roots run deep and you're planted somewhere. What's the worst case scenario? You have to go back to where you started. I'll tell you a quick story. In 2000, it was the year 2000, and I went to a Franklin Covey symposium, and I heard Norman Schwarzkopf speak. He was I think he got to a 4-star or 5-star general, but at that point in time, he had been the general that led the troops over in Iraq, the Iraq War. And he was telling this story about how when he first got promoted from a 1-star general to a 2-star general, he got promoted from out of the field to the Pentagon as a 2-star general, and he was working for a 4-star general. Well, there had just been a presidency, an administration change. And so the 4-star general had just been promoted. He'd been promoted. And so they go into this meeting, and he never, gave insight into what the decision was, but there was a decision that everybody was wrestling with and had been wrestling with for 3 or 4 years. And they had talked about this for like an hour and a half, 2 hours around this table at the Pentagon, and all the Joint Chiefs of Staff were there, and the president was there, and, all the big players. And so after the new 4-star general, who was in charge of basically the Pentagon, after he heard all the facts, he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do X, Y, Z, and this is what it's going to look like the next 6 to 12 months. And so they made a decision, and this was a decision that the previous administration, the previous generals couldn't make. And he was just very forward and said, this is what we're going to do. And so Norman Schwarzkopf was telling this story that just really hit me. He said they left, and his boss, the 4-star general, was going to be heading out to Iraq to be in the field for 3 months or whatever it was to go implement this change or whatever was happening. And so Norman Schwarzkopf, the 2-star general, was going to be the top ranking general at the Pentagon. And so Norman asked him, sir, how do this has been a decision that, nobody's been able to make for years. Like, how do you know this is going to work? And aren't you nervous? And how do you know it's the right decision? And Norman Schwarzkopf said that the 4-star general looked at him and said, son, here's the thing that I know for sure. We don't know if it's the right decision. We don't know how things are going to play out, but we take all the information that we currently have and we make the best decision possible based on the information that we've got. And then also make sure that we're surrounded by a team of people that even if we've made the wrong decision, we're going to adapt, we're going to adjust, and we're going to make that decision the right decision, even if we have to adjust. And that stuck with me for so long because what's hard is to decide. So many people wrestle over making decisions around life and job and business and investing. And, even, I know this is going to sound crazy, but even, should I marry this person? Well, to me, that's like a very simple, can you imagine spending the rest of your life with that person? Do you love this person? Do you have fun with this person? What's hard is to decide. And by the way, I guess the marriage and relationship thing is a little bit more serious, because it's not like you can just, I made a mistake and then go backwards. I mean, I guess you could, but what's hard is to decide. And so we wrestle over all these decisions in life. And I think what's really caused Kara and I to be successful, and trust me, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I think the guy that can make more mistakes and fix his mistakes faster and be surrounded by amazing people like the 4-star general was, the people that can make more mistakes faster are going to win. They're going to win more often than the people who, get stuck and can't make decisions and just are frozen with fear. And so the thing I want to leave you with today, and I don't know what this means for you, but what's hard is to decide. And we're so frozen with fear on what's on the other side of a lot of decisions that we've been, trying to make or wrestling with or whatever. And just like Norman Schwarzkopf in The General, you just have to take all the information that you have at hand. And more importantly, like, what do you want your life to look like? If you're tired of being in the town that you live in, or you want a change of scenery, or you want a change of environment, then just do it. What's the worst case scenario? So what's hard is to decide. What's easy is to make decisions and adjustments along the way. And so, twice in our life, Kara and I have uprooted and moved, once from Nevada, where we lived for 27 years, to Phoenix, Arizona in 2016. And it was a really exciting time. And then just recently, a few months ago, we decided to move to Austin. And so many people have reached out to me and said, Mike, that's just super cool that you guys are able to do that. Well, it's not just that we're able to do that. Yes, we've built a life of freedom and basically can live wherever we want. But also we made conscious decisions to build that too. And to also walk away from, I had a lot of businesses and investments and everything in Nevada. And so I really had to consciously and strategically think about what that looked like on the other side. So what's hard is to decide. And I would challenge you to think through, what is it that you really want to do in life and progress toward, that you're just stewing on a decision. And really, if you just think of it, what's the worst case scenario? Fear holds us back from so many amazing things in life. And I want what's best for you. I want you to have the ultimate life. And so trust me, you can make adjustments. What's hard is to decide.